Perfect. Well, class has started. The broadcast is live at the moment. So welcome for joining us. No, welcome, and thank you for joining us today. I'm thinking about 1,000 things in 1 second right now, so great. Today is a very special day for one of our students, Garrett's. This is something that she's been asking me about for many, many months, and so finally it's here. Today we'll be taking a look at the intermediate Intenga exam. Okay, so let's get started. I don't think she can wait anymore. The suspense is going to kill her. So just 1 minute. Here we go. Okay, great. So this is the first question. No? All right, well, Garrett's, we're ready now. So let me just make this a tiny bit bigger. This one's a little bit difficult because we have a picture. Okay, so basically the question is what is this called? Okay, our options are chimney, chimfire, fireplace, or fire spot. Okay, if you want to type or if you want to talk, that's fine. I will be mainly not in the Hangout, so if you type it, it might be difficult. So, Garrett, you think fireplace. Does anyone have fireplace? And I did this question. I invented this exam, and I did this because, as Rafa might know, here in Spain, there's one word for the fireplace and the chimney. And so this was my moment. And so chimney actually means this and then outside of the house as well. In English, we have two different words. So that was my inspiration. Rafa, you and all of your people from Spain. So thank you to them. All right, we'll move some of these down so we don't get distracted. Perfect. All right, so this next question is choose the correct connector. Okay, Jane went to the shop. She didn't find what she wanted with because, so, and, but. Actually, I have everyone else read. I don't need to read. All right, so we have Ken and Garrett both say but.
I have a question, if you don't mind. What is the correct answer to the first one? All of them? Or?
Oh, it was fireplace.
Fireplace only?
Yes. Let me go back because chimney is on the outside of the house, okay? So this is the chimney as you see outside. And then chimfire and fire spot don't exist as words. I made those up. Those are invented words. Okay, so fireplace, yes, is the correct answer. I'm sorry that wasn't clear. Good, any other questions? No problem, Rafa. Perfect, well, let's move down here then. So 2 of our potential correct answers is but. Marco also agrees. Okay, and I'm going to say yes, it's but. Jane went to the shop, but she didn't find what she wanted. Can anyone explain why that's the correct answer?
Because, she didn't find what she wanted. Kind of contrast. So, but is most proper.
Exactly. The contrast is the key word in that sentence. Okay. Because is to give reasons. And so that doesn't work here. So is kind of another to give reasons. And doesn't work here because it's not a sequence. She went to the shop and to the supermarket, for example. So that's a continuation. So but is the correct answer here. Any questions? Perfect. All right, let's move down. Oh, I knew that was going to happen. I hate when that happens. Sorry. Okay, so choose the correct sentence. Okay, choose the correct sentence. Let's start with Rafa. Can you please read the sentences?
Ken goes to the party. Jenny should study for her exam. The dogs can make figs. They have to work in early tomorrow. That one is not correct.
Well, there's only one correct. So if you want to put 1, 2, or 1, 2, 3, or 4, that's fine. Rafa, do you have any suggestions?
The second one could be the correct.
Okay, so you think number 2 is correct. Anyone else? No one's saying anything. Garrett?
Jenny should study for her exam.
Okay, you think that one's correct. Okay, anyone else? Ken, Marco?
No, I think Jenny should study for her exams. It could be the correct one.
Good. And Ken?
Yeah, the dog can make tricks. It's also correct, but maybe it contains mistakes. I don't know.
It does contain a mistake.
Okay, so then you should study for her exam.
Yep, exactly. So in this first sentence, we have can goes. This is impossible. After a modal verb, we have to have the infinitive only. So he can go to the party is correct, but not goes. Okay. Jenny should study for her exam. That's perfect because here we are using should. These are all modal verbs. All of these have modal verbs, okay? And so studies in the infinitive form, that's perfect. Dogs can make tricks. It's do. We use do in this case. So that's the mistake, okay? Okay. And then they have to working. No, it's work. So we take off the ing and then it would be correct, okay? So this is all about modals, this question.
Sorry, Rebecca.
Yes.
I would like to ask you a question about the fourth statement.
Yes.
The dogs can make tricks. At least what I know, in this case, the article it should be in that position because dogs is considered in general and not a specific dog.
Okay.
It is correct what I say or not?
Well, it depends. Because there's no context here, both would be fine. But in general, yes, I actually agree with you. Dogs should be used. But if we're looking at specific dogs in the room, for example, so you know what, I actually do agree with you. Dogs would be best in this case.
Okay, thanks.
No, thank you, Marco. Like I said, I made this exam, so if there's mistakes, it's my fault. All right, great. So now let's move down to this one. And actually, Marco, why don't you go ahead and read this one for us, okay?
Yeah. I work in a restaurant, but now I work at hotel. Do I have to say what I...
Well, you can if you want.
Sorry?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
In my opinion, I used to. I used to work in a restaurant, but now I work at hotel.
Okay, good. So you're saying the second one, right?
Yeah, the second, used to.
Okay, good. Good. Rafa also agrees. Anyone else? Comments? Questions?
Yes, I think used to. Yeah.
Perfect. And Garrett, the star of the class today?
Same, used to.
Good, used to. Perfect. The first one we can't use because used to is just used to, okay? It's just plain and simple like Ken has written, okay? And it means that it was a habit in the past and it is not a habit anymore. So I didn't use to work, I didn't use to, for example, it doesn't matter the context. I didn't use to is the negative and did you use to would be the question form, okay? And so use does not have that D at the end because the auxiliary verb is conjugated, so we have to use the verb in the infinitive form without to. It's just like the past simple. It's the same exact thing as the past simple, the grammar. It's just that simple.
Okay, and for example, if I say, if I'm forcing, like, I did used to work in a restaurant, so would it be wrong?
Mm-hmm. No, that's not wrong, and that goes in the present tense as well. For example, I do work a lot. For example, you're emphasizing.
Like emphasize.
Exactly. It's the same as I work a lot, but we're using more emphasis. A lot, obviously, is adding emphasis, and with do, the auxiliary, we're doing more. For example, with the past, I did go to school yesterday, for example. Okay, that's in the normal, the affirmative. Okay, in the past, no, past simple, yes. Okay, you would not say I did went. That's impossible.
Right.
Okay, so no. Did went, no, never. Ugh. Okay, so now if you want to add emphasis in the present perfect, I have gone to the store, for example. You would just emphasize the auxiliary verb even though it's always there. Okay, so that would use your tone of voice.
So in this option, who is going
Please go on.
Garrett's.
Please go on. Got it.
Thanks. That means in these options, there are two options are possible.
I'm sorry, what?
like used to and did used to, both are possible in this sentence, right?
Well, I suppose to, and now I'll have to change that. Yeah, I did used to work in a restaurant. Yes, to me that would be if you're arguing with someone and you would say, you never worked in a restaurant, you don't know anything. I did work. I did used to work. I would say I did work. I wouldn't use I did used to work. That's probably where I'm coming from. But you are correct. I do need to change this because it can be confusing. Great, so let's look for errors in my exams today. We can do that. Marco, what did you want to say?
No, I want to say only that, in my opinion, of course, by changing a bit the second part of the statement, I could have used even didn't used to, for example, no, by saying I didn't used to work in a restaurant, but now I'm getting used to work. No, for example, I getting used.
Didn't use to.
I'm getting. I try to change, the statement by using didn't used to, but just.
So I have written a sentence in the chat box. I didn't used to work in a hotel, but now I am getting used to working there.
Yeah, right. Is it correct? Is it possible? No.
Yes, and I like that much better because if you say I didn't used to work in a restaurant, but now I work at a hotel, it doesn't. You're not keeping with the same idea, and that's strange. No one would say that ever. So,
no,
so yeah, so
you have to change the second part, no?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. So I didn't used to work in a restaurant, but now I do, for example.
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
Good. Great questions. Perfect. Any other questions before I continue? No? Okay. Great. Well, continuing on. Here we go. Okay, so let's see. Is it Garrett's? Garrett, it's your turn. Can you read the sentence?
Sure. I'm going on a trip to India next year.
Okay, so you have trip, travel, journey, and car. Does anyone agree or disagree with Garrett's? Okay. No one has any answer. That's fantastic. Again, this was also inspired by the Spanish who confuse trip and travel quite often because it's very similar. Okay, so Garrett's is completely correct, on a trip. Okay, Rafa, oh, okay, Marco, you first. Yes. Marco, I don't hear you. Chips. Yeah. Do you have any questions?
Sorry,
Marco, yeah. You're unmuted. Do you want to say anything? Maybe your microphone or something isn't working very well, but I don't hear you very well. Rafa, I wanted to ask you specifically if you had any questions about this sentence, because it is, again, inspired by Spanish. The Spanish language and the people because of my experience teaching, okay? Rafa, no questions? Everyone can still hear me, right? Everyone's abnormally quiet at the moment. Okay. Well, let's go to the next one. And Ken, you, okay, so which sentence is incorrect? So let me just go ahead and move this. Don't look at that. All right, good. So incorrect.
Lynn has been living in London for 6 months. Lynn has lived in London for 6 months. Lynn has living in London for 6 months. Lynn had lived in London for 6 months. Wow, it's difficult. I think has lived in London for 6 months makes sense.
Okay, any other opinions?
Only one correct. Sorry, only one correct sentence. Or
sorry,
more?
it's which is incorrect.
Okay, I got it. I got it.
Yeah, that's why I don't like things being on different pages. Okay. The incorrect one.
Has living in London is incorrect. So number 3.
Any other? Garrett?
Agreed with Ken.
Okay, perfect. Marco, Rafa, anything? No comment? Okay, well, that works as well. So yes, that is the incorrect one. Lynn has living in London for 6 months. It's even difficult for me to say. Okay, so Lynn has been living. Which verb tense is this? Has been living. Part 2 of this.
Present perfect continuous.
Thank you very much. Ken, what's the next one? Has lived.
Present perfect.
Good. Has living doesn't exist. And had lived.
Past perfect.
Thank you, Grammar Ken. Looks like Marco was having some problems with his maybe connection. Any questions with this?
No, Lynn, sorry. Lynn is living in London. That makes sense. But
yes,
I need to erase for 6 months.
Correct.
Okay.
Because you're changing it from, one of the perfect tenses to the present continuous, and the present continuous is now. So yes, you're correct. And I was going to say that Lynn has been living and Lynn has lived. There's no difference. Okay, excuse me. And the last one, I mean, with those two sentences, Lynn is continuing to still live in London. And then the last one, Lynn had lived, means that she did live there for 6 months and does not live there anymore. Welcome back, Marco. Are you trying to speak? Marco?
Finally, I come back. Sorry,
Oof, good, and I can hear you.
My computer today is playing up. I don't know why. Okay, my attempt is this one. For me, the first two statements are both of them correct.
Mm-hmm. And the last two are incorrect, do you think?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Why
definitely.
is the last one incorrect?
The last one, of course. No, the last one probably not. Sorry. Yes. No. Now I have had a better look on that.
Okay, good. Yeah.
Yeah. The last one is not is correct. The same.
Yep. This one's the bad one. We don't like this one.
Right. Yes.
Perfect. Well, very good. Did you have a question from before, Marco?
Sorry?
I think you were before. It was during this one. Did you have a question?
Yeah. Yes. I had a question, but as you know, my computer played some tricks. So I was asking you because Garrett said trip, no? And it is correct. But I would like to know if I had put travel, it would be considered a mistake or not.
Yeah, travel is a mistake.
What is the?
It's a verb. So trip is a noun. Travel is a verb.
But travel is also a noun.
Traveling is a noun.
Traveling. Traveling.
You can't
right,
see.
sorry.
It's okay. I love when the light bulb goes on.
Okay.
See, travels, for example, would be an exception. That travels is used as a noun. As far as I'm concerned, any other time that we use travels. He's been on many travels, for example. But this, we don't use it like that, really. I mean, safe travels is something that we say when people go on holiday, and that's it. So normally you wouldn't use travels as a noun. It can be, okay? But in this case, absolutely not. I'm going on a travel. No, I'm going on travels. No, we don't say that.
Okay. Thanks.
You're welcome. I'm traveling by bus if you're going to India, you're probably traveling by plane. So I'm traveling by plane, for example, or I'm flying, okay? So travel is a verb we probably wouldn't use very common. I mean, just for me, for example, I'm going home. I'm going to the US next year or this year. I'm flying. I wouldn't even use travel. The journey will be very long. That's from point A to point B. Okay. Any other questions? No? Okay, well, great question, Marco. Thank you.
Okay.
Very good. So this one is solved. Any final questions with this one? Okay. All right, great. So now let's take a look at this one. Choose the correct modal verb. Ken, it's your turn.
I answered previous question.
Oh, I'm sorry. You did the last one. So Rafa, it's your turn. Sorry.
Hello?
Hello. Sorry, I was just talking and I was mute the entire time. So apparently it looks like Rafa doesn't want to help us with this question. So Marco, can you please help us with this?
Yeah.
Great.
In my opinion, I choose should. We should study for our exam if we want to pass it.
Okay, and why did you choose should?
Because it's like a suggestion, no? Like the best way we have to do if we want to pass that exams. So we should study.
Okay.
Is a,
Yep. No, I
of
agree
course, it's
with
not.
you.
I know. Okay.
No, I do. Yes. It's correct.
Sorry, I didn't understand.
Good. Well, does anyone else have any other comments on maybe why the other ones cannot be correct or are not correct? Garrett?
Must is possible without to.
That's correct, but it has two, so. But yes, it is a possible answer. Thank you. Any other comments? No? Can we use could? We could study for our exam if we want to pass it.
Yeah, it's possible, but it sounds not so. In my opinion, it sounds not so good.
Okay, I also agree with you again. Ken, you want to comment?
I think it's grammatically correct, but its meaning is a bit weird, so it's not the best option.
Okay. Well, what does it mean then?
I don't know. So it's confusing meaning, yeah. Grammatically correct, but confusing meaning. Yeah.
Okay, good. So let me help you out. So we use could. First, what kind? Well, this is a conditional. That's what I wanted to say. Okay, so it's a conditional sentence. Yeah, if we use could in the second and third conditionals because they're referring to kind of not the past, but possibilities. Okay, in the second conditional, it's a hypothetical situation in which, as Garrett said, we use the past tense. So this, if we wanted to make it correct, say. Oh, I'm touching buttons with the type with this. Okay, so we could study for our exam if we wanted to pass it. Okay, so we would change want into the past tense, wanted. Then it sounds good.
Yeah, right. The second condition.
Exactly.
Yes.
Now, in some cases, as you know, the mixed conditionals exist, all right? And sometimes we can use the present tense, but then with would. If I want to pass my exam, if I want, okay, present tense, to pass my exam, I would study. And so you're kind of giving it's a present topic, it's in the present tense because you're going to take the exam, but you're doing the kind of hypothetical, but I don't think I'm going to. I would study, but I'm not going to. So it's giving it that context there. So it is possible sometimes. However, not in this case. Should is the correct one. Must to doesn't exist, and we can't study for the exam if we want to pass. That's completely opposite. Any other questions?
Probably
Yeah.
Garrett said the best option if we would say we have to, no? We have to.
Wait. I went to the next one. Yes, we have to study. We should study. We ought to study. So there are, of course, other options.
Yeah.
We might study if we want to pass it. Okay. Perfect. So now the second conditional. Great. Now I've talked about the grammar. So let's see. Garrett, looks like it's your turn.
Okay, now I have to find out the second conditional sentence.
Yes. So why don't you read all of them first?
Okay. If we went, we would be happy. If they will go, they would have fun. She could play piano if she won. we would buy clothes if there are sales. So I think first one is second.
Okay. Anyone else? Comments? Marco, I did mute you because we can hear ourselves when we're speaking. So if you're trying to speak, you are muted, okay? Anyone have any questions? The correct answer? What do we think? Marco, if you want to unmute yourself, that's okay. You can talk. Okay, I see you're unmute. Well, Marco, if you're speaking, I don't hear you again. So now you're mute. So if we went, we would be happy is the correct one, as Garrett said, because we're using the past tense and then we're using a model would with the verb in the infinitive form. Okay, so I'm going to go here. So went past tense, and then we have the model and the verb in the infinitive form. Now, what happens here is in this sentence we have will. That's impossible in the second conditional. Okay, will we only use in the first, would we use in the second. And we have two models here which can exist. Okay, I'm not going to say it's impossible, but normally we won't use that. Okay. And here she could play piano if she want. Obviously wants with the S would be correct. But if this is the second, she could play piano if she wanted in the past. And then we would bought clothes. Bought is in the past tense, but we have a model, so that's impossible. That's terrible. If there are sales, and then we have a present tense verb here, so no. Garrett?
Yeah, I want to ask you, I was told that will with if is not allowed while we are using conditional sentences. Like we can't say if I will go, that is wrong. Will always come in the second clause.
Right. In different contexts, in different sentences, you can use modal verbs in both.
What kind of?
Let me see. If I can help you, I will see you later today, for example. If I can help you, I will see you later today. If I can't help you, I'll see you tomorrow, for example. If I can't help you, I won't see you today. That basically means if you have time. Now, this is probably pretty colloquial, all right? So,
no, I'm just asking. In which case we can use or we are allowed to use will with if.
Oh no. That's no. You can't. Don't do that.
Okay.
Okay. So you are correct. All right.
Because I heard many people who use will with if, and even they are native speakers. So this is why sometimes I
really
get confused. Yes, and I have also the same thing, both things in my headway book, which I showed you through the email, and both possibilities are given there, and I don't know the rule, the reason. So I just want
Why
to
don't you send that to me? That would be interesting to look at.
Okay.
If I will. For example, if we have, if I will go to the shop, I will buy food. If I will go to the shop. Actually, I would say I would buy food, or I'm going to buy food. If I go, if I will go, I don't like that. It's actually, in my mind, it's incorrect because of the grammar. Because you're saying if I do something.
Okay.
So you're saying if I do it, but I might not. So you can't use something like will, which is very 100% you're going to do something with an option. Do you see what I mean? When we use if, it's if I do this, it's a possibility.
Yeah, or maybe it is possible different context, like if I am ending my sentence with if I will.
One second, I'm just writing a different example. For example, not with will, but with would. If I would want to buy a new car, and that sounds strange, but people say it, and I don't know why there's a problem with that. Because this is I'd like, it's basically if I had to choose to buy a new car, or if I wanted to buy a new car, I would like a BMW.
Right.
But no one would really say if I would want to buy.
Okay.
Or that's a lie. People do say it, okay? Okay. Excuse me. All right, so does that answer your question, Garrett?
Yes, and I'll try to search the clause which I described about the book, like handsome woman. We have those kind of
Yeah,
things.
well,
So
still, I don't agree with that still.
If I find, I will send you, okay?
Perfect, sounds good. And for now, let's go back to this. And this is what it looks like in Spain today. How would you best describe this picture? Clear skies, cloudy, overcast, or stormy? There are two that might work. One is the best answer here. Garrett says cloudy. Anyone else? I need opinions on this one, so please write or tell me. Stormy. Cloudy. Marco. Overcast. Well, I'm going to agree with Marco. Overcast is technically the correct word here, okay? And that's because there are clouds everywhere and there's no holes. Now, for cloudy, okay, there would be a lot of clouds here, okay? Clear skies is obviously there are no clouds, okay, in the sky. And stormy, it doesn't look like it's raining. And I think that's kind of the question here, okay? Any doubts, any questions? I mean, cloudy, you can say it's cloudy, but overcast is really, yeah. They're wild clouds. Okay, exactly. So cloudy can work. That was the other possibility, but overcast is really the correct one here. Okay. So let's continue on. Whoops. Okay. So this. Choose the antonym for happy. We have merry, cheerful, delighted, sorrowful. Which word do you think is? Okay, Garrett thinks it's cheerful. Choose the antonym for happy. Okay, Ken, sorrowful. Garrett's delighted. Okay, Garrett, we're looking for the antonym. So it's the opposite of happy, not the synonym. So merry, cheerful, and delighted all mean happy. Yeah, so that's okay. So sorrowful is the opposite. Okay, very good. No problem, Garrett. Yep, there's an echo. Yeah, I think that's because Marco. Nope, that's fine, Garrett. No problem. So let's go to the next one. Actually, I'm going to skip this one, I think. So just 1 second. Here we go. Okay. And let's get down. Have you seen the latest film by George Clooney? We have yet, already, still, or ever. No one wants to answer? Ken, already. Garrett's yet. Marco, yet. Ooh, 50-50. Okay, so have you seen the latest film by George Clooney yet? Now let me explain why, because Ken, you might have heard already in the last part. However, that's incorrect, okay? Have you already seen the latest film by George Clooney? Or have you already seen the latest George Clooney film? Anything like that. So technically people do say already in this case, however, it's incorrect. Oh. I was told here in Spain many years ago when I was studying in the north that I should not listen to native speakers because they speak incorrectly, which happens in the United States too. I'm not saying it's just the Spanish. So, and Rafa, again, this one was inspired by the Spanish because still, already, yet, just, ever, never, they're all very similar, used slightly differently, okay? So we can have the same sentence. Well, we can use the base sentence, like I said, have you already seen? We can use it like that, and it means the same thing. It's just the placement of the words, okay? Any questions? Okay, and I know I was having you all read. However, this next one, I can't. So you'll just have to tell me, okay? So, which word rhymes, has the same sound at the end with tough? I will not say any of these. Well, I probably shouldn't have said that word either. Garrett's, okay, yes, Ken and Garrett's are correct. Cuff, because, yeah, I hear a lot of people say tough very differently. And because boat obviously isn't it, because there's not a T at the end. Row is not correct, even though sometimes, can I say this? Though, the last word out of these options, though, oops, and row do rhyme, okay? So 2 and 4 rhyme. So that's why I put row in here. Cuff, yes, tough, because this GH makes an F sound. I don't know why, don't ask me. And so that's it, okay? Any questions? Okay. Great. Well, let's move on here. Okay, so I don't even know whose turn it would be right now. Garrett's, do you think it would be your turn or it's Ken's? I actually think it's Ken. Ken?
Okay. She belongs to school tomorrow. She is ill. She will not go to school. Won't go to school.
Okay, anyone else? So she did not go, do not go, will not.
She isn't going to, is also possible. She isn't going to school tomorrow.
Okay. Why do you think that?
Because I have heard both. Most probably isn't going to.
Because?
I agree.
Good. Well, I believe
the difference is between will not and going to is, I think it's more correct the last one because it's prepared, you know, in advance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Exactly. It's a planned action. So she will not is more of she will not go to school now because she's ill. Okay? That's an instant. I always remember the I for will for instant moments. Okay? So isn't going to is technically the correct answer. However, I'm sure you will hear she will not go to school tomorrow. She is ill.
You mean
How
both
about
are correct?
saying possibility? She might go, she might not.
Well, that's different. We're not focusing on, yes. Okay, so she might not go to school. She might go to school. Yes, you can use it in the positive or negative because it's 50-50. Might is 50-50.
I mean, will. What is the difference between going to and will? Is going to is almost like a plan, but will has certain kind of possibility. If if she's not sure whether she can go to school or not now, I think she wants to go to school is also proper. No.
Well, will not we technically shouldn't use in this case because it's for instant decisions. Okay.
Okay.
But again, you will hear this. You will hear she will not go to school tomorrow. She is ill. I suppose you would say that if technically due to grammar, it's incorrect. That's the problem. But it does sound okay. Because sometimes, for me personally, I can use will and be going to in the same context and the same meaning. However, due to
for
grammar,
example, with context, probably she won't go to school tomorrow. She's ill.
Yeah, she probably won't go to school. Yeah. To school tomorrow.
Okay.
To get rid of this confusion, for me, both are correct.
Okay. Well, technically, for grammar, it's be going to. It isn't going to go in this sentence, but yes, you will hear will not go. Okay.
Okay.
Perfect. Let's try one. Yes.
If I don't choose go in the end, like if I only say she isn't going to school tomorrow, is it correct?
Yeah, it is because that's the present continuous versus be going to, and yes, the majority of that.
Then why isn't going to go to? Tell me the difference.
Because that's the be going to, and you're talking about the present continuous.
But how is both? How are
because they have the same meaning.
Can I say that both are correct? If both are correct, then I don't understand why.
Well,
isn't
the present continuous isn't one of the options. That's why it's not there. Personally, sometimes, like for example, I'm going to go to the shop later. I'm going to the shop later. There's no difference, but it's your personal feeling, how you want to say it.
Okay, now I got it.
And sometimes the be going to tense sounds better than the present continuous. I can't obviously think of anything in the moment, but yeah. But basically they're the same. Okay.
Okay, right. Thanks.
All right, good. No problem. Well, that has brought us to the end of the class. So let me stop screen sharing so I can say goodbye to everybody. So we will continue this. Let me just take a look and see how many questions are left. 2, 3, 4, 5. We can count in English. There are 5 questions left. So, oh, no. Actually, there's 6 and potential 7. Excuse me. So what I think we can do is, I have this class, the next class on Monday, and my schedule is not near me at the moment. So maybe Monday, Garrett's will finish this, and I'll put it in the notes for Thomas. So he can say, we'll finish the Intenge exam, and then, or if you want next Wednesday, if that works better for you, because the Monday classes are earlier. So if you want, for now, I'll put it in this Monday, okay? And we'll finish that, and then we'll talk about whatever the topic is on Monday, which I don't know what it is right now. So, but that's it for today. Thank you very much for joining. I hope we've at least learned something or realized why we do something and not something else. So,
yes, we did.
Very good. Perfect. Well, great. Wonderful. Well, everyone, yeah?
No. I just want to say that grammar at the end is only a nuisance.
It is. I understand.
That's
I
my
definitely.
opinion, my humble opinion.
No, I agree with you. Grammar isn't always fun. I enjoy grammar, but I know students probably don't. So, but great. Well, everyone have a wonderful day. Okay, and we will talk soon. I'll see you next Monday.
Okay,
Thank you very
bye.
much.
All right, you're welcome.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
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 Bye.